Hi, my name is Max Swinson, and this is my Project 9 History of Communication Technologies. So, for my interview for this week, I chose to interview my mom, Shelly. My mom spent her teenage years in the late 70s and early 80s, but mostly early 80s. And I chose to interview her for this project because I figured that she would be able to be the best person to ask about the newer technologies that were being invented during that time. So, in the late 70s and early 80s, record players, TV, and radio were the most prominent forms of technology during that time. Prince was a very popular artist on the radio during that time, and also the Top 40 Countdown on the morning radio was very popular to listen to. And also, it was very common for there to be two television sets in a household. That was fairly common at the time for middle class families. So in terms of specifically audio communication, there was records, radio, 8 tracks, and cassettes. The picture on the right is a picture of a record player, um, and obviously there was radios in cars, 8 tracks, and cassettes. Cassettes were sort of just starting to come on the scene during that time. In terms of visual technology, TV, movies, and movie theaters themselves, TVs, my mom remembers fondly watching TV with her parents. Her dad was a very big TV person and always had the TV on. Movies, specifically, my mom talked about watching the Bad News Bears with her dad as he was a baseball coach, and she found it pretty entertaining watching the Bad News Bears and sort of finding it funny because she got all sort of the inside jokes that they were making about baseball during that time. And obviously, movie theaters, they're still very popular today, but uh, back in the early 80s, they were sort of a spot for people to hang out and go with friends. My mom remembers going a lot with her friends, getting popcorn and other candies and stuff like that, and watching some of, I guess, most popular movies that are still talked about today. And then in terms of phones, landlines were the primary and only really form of phones at that time. My mom talked about the necessity of having a long enough cord on your phone so that if she wanted to have a private conversation and go to her room, she could walk from where the telephone was into her room so that she could have a private conversation. And then, in conclusion, obviously, technology in the late 70s and early 80s is not at all what it was, or what it is today. But it is really cool to hear my mom's old stories about technology and just really seeing what it was like during her childhood. And it was really amazing to see. So, thank you for listening to my presentation.